This is your news source evening bulletin for today, Monday, the 11th day of March in the year 2024. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here's what we're tracking tonight. The government, in partnership with the Canada CARICOM Expert Deployment Mechanism, today launched a Restorative Justice Practitioners Training Program here in Georgetown. It forms part of Guyana's quest to modernize the justice system and reduce the number of persons before the courts. At the opening ceremony this morning, Attorney General Anil Nandlal said restorative justice would undoubtedly see a reduction in the number of cases before the court.
Magistrate Peter Yu is here with us, and he will confirm that perhaps 80% of the cases that go before him as a sitting magistrate are cases that are not the serious indictable cases to which the Learned Chancellor made reference. They are minor offenses, and they would occupy 80% of his time, of his energy, and of his resources. Restorative justice can address most of this 80% workload that he faces as a magistrate every single day. And that is replicated in every magistrate court across the country. Imagine if we are able to entrench and interweave restorative justice in our criminal justice system in the institutional manner that we would like to. The tremendous positive impact it will have in reducing the workload of every single magistrate in this country.
Acting Chancellor of the Judiciary, Justice Janet Cummings, while acknowledging the role of restorative justice, reducing the number of cases before the courts and the prison population, said it has tremendous benefits for the individual and the society.
When we compare and contrast the restorative justice system, we see so many benefits for society, for the individual, as well as for the judiciary. Individuals are given access to dispute resolution in a more timely manner than in the general justice system. So when you look at the principles that you will be taught and the principles which you will be practicing when you go out into the various centers of relationship, respect, responsibility, repair, and reintegration, what I see from there would be societies and communities that are safer, societies and communities that will enjoy the benefit of your training.
She also urged citizens undergoing the Practitioners Training Program to make use of information provided during the training and take their responsibility seriously. Restorative justice first entered Guyana's mainstream justice system in the mid-1970s and was integrated into the country's formal justice system back in 2022. Since then, the government has conducted a number of training sessions and public awareness forums in the various administrative regions with regional administrators and councillors, along with religious leaders, teachers, police officers, and tushals, as well as judicial officers. More news coming up in just a moment.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true, or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
holiday spending put a dent in your cash? Top up your pockets in the Cash Splash promotion. Win over $5 million, including over $1 million in our weekly draws. Just purchase any Buster, Turbo, Fruita, Cool Kids or Viva. Look for the 8-digit code starting with 786. Then visit Facebook or IG at Buster Guyana or Turbo_Caribbean for more details.
In our search for sophistication and grace, the Super Stylistics team invites you to be part of something extraordinary. Mothers and daughters who possess aura and presence that transcend through time. Step forward and become part of the Mother and Daughter Pageant 2024. Join our legacy as we redefine elegance for generations to come. The search for the epitome of timeless love begins now. Call 226-2825 or 626-0460 to secure your spot in the Mother and Daughter Pageant 2024.
President Irfan Ali has issued a warning to contractors who have been given multi-million-dollar pump station contracts and continue to face delays in the completion of their work. The president wants them to know that they will face penalties. The opposition has been flagging a number of government pump station projects that are facing lengthy delays because of the contractors. Opposition Member of Parliament Ganesh Mahipal recently disclosed that since 2020, the National Drainage and Irrigation Authority has awarded contracts to build 10 pump stations across the country. But many of those works are still to be completed. While addressing party supporters at Babujan in Quarantine on Sunday, the president said critics of his government have been nagging constantly on the pump station delays. He said the government will not be sharing the fault, but has made it clear that there will be no free passes for the contractors.
They will not say that the ministry will take action against them. They will want to make it look to suit their objective that this is a corrupt act. No one who break the law or who do not fulfill their contractual obligation to this country will be allowed to do so.
There have been delays in the commencement of works for two major pump station contracts awarded last year to Sattar Muhammad & Sons Construction and the Tupui Group. Sattar Muhammad & Sons Construction secured an $868 million contract for the Metamirzorg pump station, while Tupui Group landed an $865 million contract for the Bellevue pump station. However, works on those two contracts are yet to begin.
We have made it very clear to all the PSs, all the ministers, that the law must take precedent, and wherever liquidated damages must be charged, it will be charged.
Meanwhile, the president has defended the delays of some contracts by saying that there continues to be a supply chain crisis, which has affected many countries since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic 4 years ago. Vice President and General Secretary of the People's Progressive Party, Civic Bharat Jagdeo, in a rallying call on Sunday, urged his supporters and the rest of the country not to be misled by what he called the political rhetoric of the opposition. Addressing party supporters at the memorial rally for late President Chelly Jagan, Mr. Jagdeo was in full campaign mode, telling his supporters that the opposition has been playing with the emotions of citizens as a tactic to get them to express dissatisfaction with the current government.
Because they touch you in your hearts. They say the things that people can willingly forego and ignore all the progress that the country is making, because they touch the emotive issues.
While declaring the PPP Civic as a party for all, Vice President Jagdeo accused the opposition of trying to divide the nation with the issue of race.
The people of the country suffered. Contrast that with the PPP. If you look at this crowd, if you look at our activities, if you look at our programs, and that's the worst nightmare for APNU, that all of our people right across Guyana, in spite of their race, they're benefiting from the People's Progressive Party. That's a fundamental difference between us. So some people may believe, oh, APNU is fighting for us. They're not fighting for you. They're fighting for themselves. The only party that you can find a home in, if you're Afro-Guyanese or Amerindian or mixed or Indo-Guyanese, that will ensure that you and your children see progress, sustainable progress, is the People's Progressive Party. Yeah.
Mr. Jagdeo also dismissed accusations of corrupt practices in the government. He described those accusations as lies.
Some of our own people start repeating the same lies without seeing the bigger motive, that it's political in nature.
And Jagdeo said too many Guyanese are being led into believing that they are not benefiting from the country's oil resources. He said the government has been investing heavily in the development of the country and the advancement of the people through education, while providing critical social services.
Norton Kid keeps saying, oh, we should give everybody $5 million a year. Well, that would be 20 times more than we're collecting from the oil and gas sector now. 20 times more he wants us to give to people than we're collecting from the sector. And you can see these figures, but it sounds good. And many of our people are saying, where the oil money there? Where the oil money there? We ain't getting oil money yet. So, if you don't understand this sort of thing, then we will be in big trouble.
Mr. Jagdeo warned that if the people are not conscious of the tactics employed by the opposition, the country could fall prey to the coalition, he said, as was the case in 2015 when his party lost the elections. With the leader of the new movement party, Dr. Asha Kissoon, still not budging from her parliamentary seat to make way for the representative from a new and united Guyana, a new controversy has erupted over who really holds the representative of the list position for the new movement. Last week, former TNM member Gerald Ford wrote to the chairman of the Guyana Elections Commission, indicating that he remains the representative of the list for TNM. But he was not the one who signed the letter for Dr. Asha Kissoon to be appointed to the National Assembly in keeping with the law and requirements of the Elections Commission. The letter was signed by Kenrick Morgan as the representative of the list. But according to Gerald Ford, Mr. Morgan does not hold that position, since he still is the representative of the list. Ford now wants to recall Dr. Kissoon as a member of parliament, utilizing the powers of the Representation of the People's Act. He also wants the Guyana Elections Commission to examine the issue, since he remains on its record as the representative of the list for the last elections. While Ford is awaiting a response from the Guyana Elections Commission, a new and united Guyana continues to call on Dr. Kissoon to relinquish her parliamentary seat to allow their representative to take up the position in the National Assembly, in keeping with the Join the Party agreement. Today, the representative of the list for a new and united Guyana, Dr. Mark France, told news source that he remembers seeing documents with Morgan signing as the representative for the new movement list.
I did see a document that came. This was sometime mid-March, around the 16th. This document was sent to me by Dr. Kissoon through one of her representatives, Mr. Kenrick Morgan, who she did inform us was her representative of the list. I knew that from before our agreement it was Dr. Gerald Ford and Dr. Josh Kanai who were the representative and the deputy representative, but maybe there was a possibility of this having been changed. That is not ANUC's business, nor is it of any of the other parties. It is specific to TNM. So a document did come, and it came with the space for the 3 signatures. Myself, I did sign on behalf of ANUC, stating that yes, it's okay for Asha to go second, and the document had to get the signature from the LJP and of course TNM.
The appointed TNM representative of the list, Gerald Ford, and the deputy representative, Dr. Josh Kanai, have indicated that while they resigned from the party, they remained as the representative and deputy representative of the list. It was made clear that they never wrote to GCOM requesting that they be removed from those positions. But the Representation of the People's Act mandates the Chief Elections Officer to call upon either the representative or deputy representative of a list for the extraction of names. But Ford said he was never approached by the Chief Elections Officer. He now wants GCOM to launch an investigation into the matter. He reasoned that if the correct procedures were not followed, it would mean that Dr. Kissoon would have ascended to the National Assembly in a manner that is not in keeping with the Representation of the People's Act. He said Dr. Kisun may be acting illegitimately in the House of Assembly. Dr. Franz said at the time a new and united Guyana had no reason to question Morgan's appointment as the TNM's representative of the list, he supports a call for an investigation into the matter and the call for Dr. Kisun to be recalled.
Another key part of this agreement was that after the June the 30th date, when her 3 months would have been over, it was decided that ANUG representative would give a portion of their salary to the party just as a means of an income. And similarly, when we spoke with Asha, she was like, okay, after June the 30th, half of my salary which I'm receiving will go towards ANUG and TNM as part of the good faith agreement that we had. We're still to see any of that. Some that we're looking for it, but that is one of the first inkling of some.
With all of the swirling controversy surrounding the Join the Party's parliamentary seat, Dr. Kisun is maintaining her silence on the issue as she continues to sit as a member of the National Assembly.
At the most critical life-changing moments, the National Insurance Scheme is here to ensure that your needs are covered. Access reimbursement for medical expenses for various aspects of your medical care. We know that eye care is of utmost importance. Receive assistance with our spectacle care voucher. Visiting the dentist? Dental care is also covered under our sickness benefit services. Offset the funeral expenses of a loved one with costs covered by our funeral benefits. National Insurance Scheme. We're there every step of the way.
Look at the breathtaking beauty of the Essequibo, from its pristine rivers to its abundant resources. It's a treasure that belongs to Guyana, and we ask Venezuela to respect the rule of international law.
Our commitment to this land is not just about ownership. It's about preserving its beauty and resources for our people and future generations.
The controversy between Guyana and Venezuela was settled internationally as full, perfect and final in 1899. Essequibo belongs to Guyana.
A 26-year-old biker who sped past a line of vehicles and slammed into a crossing trailer lost his life on Sunday night at Houston on the east bank of the Marara. The accident occurred at around 9:35. Police investigators have identified the dead man as Domel Trim of Bel Air Village, Georgetown. According to a statement from the police, early investigations revealed that a lorry driver was proceeding east on Rome Access Road to proceed further east across Magdoum Public Road. And as the lorry approached Magdoum Public Road, the traffic rank at the junction stopped all vehicles that were proceeding south and north on both carriageways, giving the driver of the motor lorry directions to proceed east across the Magdoum Public Road. The police report said while the lorry was crossing the eastern carriageway, a group of motorcyclists were proceeding south on the eastern drive lane of the carriageway, and the motorcyclists pulled to the eastern side of the road, navigating alongside the stationary vehicles, and started to proceed south along the roadway at a fast rate. The police said Trim's motorcycle collided with the rear portion of the lorry, which caused him to fall onto the road surface and skid into the rear right side wheel of the lorry. As a result of the collision, the motorcyclist sustained injuries to his body and was picked up in a semi-conscious condition. He was transported to the Georgetown Hospital, where he passed away while being treated for multiple injuries. The entire incident was captured on surveillance video recordings in the area and witnessed by a number of drivers and the police rank who was directing traffic in the area at the time. Tonight, police investigators are continuing their probe into that double murder, the brutal murder of 75-year-old Elizabeth Gomes and her 49-year-old son David Gomes. The double murder took place on Friday afternoon. Investigators are on the hunt for the suspect, who has been identified as Mazaruni prison escapee Akim Wong. There has been no trace of him so far. He escaped from jail back in February. He's a convicted rapist. According to a police statement on the deaths, the woman and her son were at their Saxacali mission house along with the woman's 6-year-old grandson when the prison escapee appeared at the house seeking directions while claiming that he was lost in the area. He also requested something to eat and was provided with food by the 75-year-old woman. The 6-year-old reported to the investigators that his father and the suspect Akim Wong were drinking alcohol when the man suddenly armed himself with a cutlass and started to attack David Gomes, the father. The elderly woman hurried to her son's aid, but was also attacked and chopped to death by the man. The man, who was reportedly injured by David Gomes during the attack, made good his escape after hearing an approaching boat. It was the young child who used his father's cell phone to send voice notes to family members and the father's friends, alerting them of what had taken place. The police were contacted and family members and the law enforcement officers rushed to the scene late on Friday, where they found the bodies of Elizabeth Gomes and her son David. The 6-year-old child was hurried away from the scene. The bodies were later transported to the Bartica hospital. There are reports that the elderly woman and her son did not recognize the prison escapee, but it was someone else in the area who recognized the man and called the elderly woman's phone to alert her about him. It is believed that the wanted man overheard the telephone conversation, and that may have triggered the deadly attack.
In our search for sophistication and grace, the Super Stylistics team invites you to be part of something extraordinary. Mothers and daughters who possess aura and presence that transcend through time. Step forward and become part of the Mother and Daughter Pageant 2024. Join our legacy as we redefine elegance for generations to come. The search for the epitome of timeless love begins now. Call 226-2825 or 626-0460 to secure your spot in the Mother and Daughter Pageant 2024.
Guyana's economy is rapidly transforming, and we're all part of it. Guyana is at the forefront of this development by providing reliable and efficient energy and supporting community development from the very core. 100% of Guyana's profit goes back to building schools, roads, and other important infrastructure that connects our cities and towns, providing fuel to domestic, marine, industrial, and aerial transportation. Guyana has now repositioned itself as a market leader in the petroleum industry, building a better future for all of us.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true. Or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
Holiday spending put a dent in your cash. Top up your pockets in the Cash Splash promotion. Win over $5 million, including over $1 million in our weekly draws. Just purchase any Buster, Turbo, Fruita, Cool Kids or Viva. Look for the 8-digit code starting with 786. Then visit Facebook or IG at Buster Guyana or Turbo_Caribbean for more details.
With your regional and international news tonight, I'm Svetlana Marshall. In the region, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken visited Jamaica on Monday to attend a Caribbean Community CARICOM meeting on Haiti, where a collapse in security in the capital and a humanitarian crisis in the Caribbean nation has unfolded, the U.S. State Department said. According to Reuters, Blinken landed in Kingston on Monday afternoon on a trip organized at the last minute as spiraling violence by armed groups threatens to bring down Haiti's government. On Sunday, the U.S. military airlifted non-essential personnel and stepped up security at Washington's embassy in Port-au-Prince. The State Department said in a statement that Blinken will discuss a proposal developed by CARICOM and Haitian stakeholders to expedite the political transition in Haiti through the creation of a broad-based independent presidential college, a reference to a proposed committee that would oversee Haiti ahead of elections. The statement did not identify who the Haitian stakeholders were. Blinken will also discuss a multinational security mission to restore security to Haiti, which is set to be led by Kenya. The State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller said Washington was looking to expedite the deployment of the mission, which Haiti's Prime Minister requested in 2022. It was authorized by the UN Security Council in October. Argentina's government launched a huge voluntary debt swap on Monday of peso and some dollar-linked instruments set to mature in 2024, a bid to push back repayments amid a major economic crisis hammering the South American country. The debt, which includes 15 different instruments with a total value pegged at around $65 billion, may be exchanged for new inflation-linked instruments with maturity dates ranging from 2025 to 2028, according to the government. The eligible securities in the hands of the public and private sector for the swap operation amount to some $64.86 billion, a government source told Reuters, adding that 70% of the maturities were held by the public sector. Argentine sovereign bonds, which have been on a rally this year, driven by market hopes about new Libertarian President Javier Milei's reforms and fiscal tightening, dipped on Monday by an average of 0.5%. The government opened the auction process on Monday morning and will close it on Tuesday evening. Settlement of the offers received and awarded will take place on Friday. And finally tonight, international news. India's government has announced plans to enact a controversial citizenship law that has been criticized for being anti-Muslim. The Citizenship Amendment Act, CAA, will allow non-Muslim religious minorities from Pakistan, Bangladesh and Afghanistan to seek citizenship. The authorities say it will help those facing persecution. According to the BBC, the law was passed in 2019, sparking mass protests in which scores of people died and many more were arrested. Rules for it were not drawn up in wake of the unrest, but have now been, according to the country's Home Affairs Minister. He made the announcement on Monday, writing on social media that Prime Minister Narendra Modi had delivered on another commitment and realized the promise of the makers of their constitution. Implementation of the CAA has been one of the key poll promises of Mr. Modi's ruling Hindu Nationalist Party, BJP, in the run-up to the general elections this year. It amends the 64-year-old Indian citizenship law, which currently prevents illegal migrants from becoming Indian citizens. Under the new law, those seeking citizenship will have to prove that they arrived in India from Pakistan, Bangladesh or Afghanistan by December 31, 2014. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Svetlana Marshall reporting and encouraging you to stay safe.